Shihabuddin Muhammad Ghori was the first who established the Sultanate of Muslims in India. He turned to Ajmer and Delhi after his victory over the Sultanate of Ghazni in 1182. While on his way, King Prithviraj's army defeated him at the Tarain War. The following year Ghori retaliated for this war, and all territories from Delhi to Ajmer became under his sultanate. Ghori handed over the authority of these areas to commander of the army Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, and sent him to various regions. These areas were added to the Ghori Sultanate. The Ghori Sultanate was expanded at the victory of Bathiar Khilji over Bengal and Bihar. Bathiar Khilji was one of Ghori's slaves. Muhammad Ghori was killed by hands of someone who did not satisfy his sultanate, when he was returning from Lahore to Ghazni in 1206. Muhammad Ghori does not have any male heir, and so his representatives declared independent rule in their respective regions. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak received the name of Sultan of India. He was a slave under Muhammad Ghori, so his sultanate is known as Mamlook Sultanate. Period of his rule was about 4 years. There is no any difference in laws for Muslims and Hindus. They lived with joy and pleasure as if they were children from one mother. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak died when he falled from horse in Lahore in 1210. Then leaders handed over the rule to Aram Baksh. But Aram Baksh was not a man who had strength and power for the sultanate. Therefore the leaders decided to expel him from the rule, and they called Iltutmish to take over the sultanate. At that time he was governor of Badayun. Iltutmish was a slave of Qutb-ud-Din Aibak. He strengthened base of Muslim sultanate. He suppressed all revolt across the country, and reconquered all lands that lost during the reign of Aram Baksh. He also conquered Malwa, Ujjain, Gwalior, and Bengal. Iltutmish became famous when he was called Sultan of India by Abbasid Caliph Mustain Billah. He was the first of Indian sultans who struck the coins in the Arab writing. Iltutmish was died after 26 years of his rule in 1236. Razia, daughter of Iltutmish, took over the rule after him. The duration of her rule was 3 years. She is the only woman who ruled Delhi among the Muslim rulers of India. She was very active among Iltutmish's children, but she was killed in the war that led by her brother Muizzuddin Bahram in 1240. Muizzuddin Kaikubad took over the sultanate. That time he was 18 years old. But their time was filled with many unrest. Then all governors agreed each other to accept Nasiruddin Mahmud as new ruler. He was young son of Iltutmish. His minister Ghiyasuddin Balban was the assistant in government matters. Nasiruddin resigned from the rule and handed over the rule to him. He was able to unite all areas under one banner, as well as he could prevent every attack from the Mongols. Some historians have described him as the first Muslim sultan in India who tried to implement reforms in a specific method. He defeated all thieves from the forest, because people were afraid of them. Balban required to his son to take over the rule, but he did not agree to it. Then his grandson Khusru became the heir. He did not attempt to expand his sultanate due to internal and external disturbances. He was died in 1287. His followers neglected his word to hand over the rule to Khusru, and they appointed his another grandson Kaikubad. He had no any skills and experiences in political matters, and he was a lover of luxury life. While he was leading a luxury life, he was killed by a man from Khilji family, and his body was thrown to river of Yamuna. Jalaluddin Feroz Khilji, governor of Punjab, took over the sultanate in 1290. He was 70 years old. Then started new sultanate named as Khilji Sultanate. He was calm and simple heart, so there were many opportunities for revolution. He was killed by his nephew Alauddin, who has an eye in the sultanate. Alauddin liked drunk and dance, but this activity didn't harm to his rule. In his time many scholars, poets, and Sufis had come to India. He gave them all support. All regions except Kashmir became under his rule. After the conquest of the capitals of Hindus, much wealth flowed into him. His commander Kafur attempted to take over the rule after death of Alauddin. He announced that Sultan Alauddin have appointed Shihabuddin Umar as next sultan. But Shihabuddin Umar was only 5 or 6 years old. Then some of Alauddin's companions killed him, and they appointed Qutbuddin Mubarak Shah, another son of Alauddin. After take over the rule, Mubarak Shah revoked all corrupt matters that his father issued, released prisoners and returned the lands to the owners, and cancelled high tax. There were only 2 revolts during his reign. The revolt in Gujarat was suppressed by his governor Ain-ul Mulk. Mubarak Shah suppressed himself the revolt of Devagiri. After 5 years of his rule he was killed by one of Alauddin's slave Khusro Khan. Khusro Khan gave great prizes to his family and beloveds. He killed Alauddin's people, then all governors began to discuss to remove him from the rule, so they called Qasi Mulk to take over the Sultanate. He was that time governor of Multan. Qasi Mulk defeated Khusro Khan in 1320. Then the governors appointed him as new ruler by naming Ghiyasuddin Tuglak. And his sultanate started named as Tuglak Sultanate. Ghiyasuddin faced many problems at the beginning of his sultanate, like rebellion of the kings in the far regions of Delhi Sultanate. He tried to solve the problem that occurred before his rule. The treasury was empty with extravagance of Mubarak Shah and Khusro, so he recovered all commodity that lost. He gave police affairs to his governors and he appointed loyal secretaries in government matters. He gave encouragement in the field of agriculture. Ghiyasuddin was died after 4 years of his rule in 1325. After his rule his son Junaid took over the Sultanate in the name Muhammad bin Tuglak in 1325. He was brave, noble, strong leader and never defeated in any fight. He was easy, humble, and merciful. He don't have bad habits that had in sultans. He spent on people gold and silver without limitation. His wrong decision was to change capital city from Delhi to Devagiri, which is known as Daulatabad. He struck the coins in copper and he couldn't prevent people from striking coins without permission from Sultanate. Riots erupted at the end of his reign. He was killed when he tried to suppress the riots. Then governors requested his nephew Firoz to take over the Sultanate. Firoz was not strong to solve problems that faced the Sultanate during the end of Sultan Muhammad bin Tuglak. He doesn't like bloodshed. Therefore he didn't try to recover the regions that were lost in various revolutions during Sultan Muhammad bin Tuglak. Many people have embraced Islam when they saw good activities that Firoz Shah implemented. He led an army twice to Bengal, but he could not conquer it. As for his sultanate, which spanned nearly 37 years, was an era of safety and comfort. He cancelled all high taxes. He built the streams from the river of Sutlej and Yamuna for agriculture, and built new cities including Jaunpur, Firozpur, and Firozabad. Ghiyasuddin Tuglak Khan II took over the Sultanate after his death. but some governors and leaders expelled him from the rule after a few years. Nasiruddin Muhammad, another son of Firoz, was the next sultan. After 4 years of his rule he was died in 1394. Nasiruddin Mahmud, the young son of Nasiruddin Muhammad, was the last sultan of Tuglak Sultanate. The next sultan was Humayun, but he was died the same year. All these sultans were unable to save the sultanate from decay. In fact, they were dolls in the hands of some leaders. Then some governors utilized this opportunity to form independent sultanate. Gujarat, Malwa, and Khandesh became autonomous regions. Sultan Mahmud was died after 20 years of his rule, in which he has no role, in 1413. By his death, the Tuglak Sultanate ended. The leaders elected Daulat Khan Lodi, who is the strongest among them, as next sultan. Uzru Khan, the governor of Multan, defeated Daulat Khan in 1414. He ruled Delhi about 7 years. When Khusro Khan took over the sultanate, Delhi was a small country. His sultanate was called Sayyid Sultanate because he said that he was from the Prophet's family. There were 4 sultans in this sultanate. This sultanate faced great challenges from Hindu's kings. Uzru Khan tried to prevent this challenge until his death in 1421. His son, Mubarak Shah, took over the sultanate after Uzru Khan's death. This sultan was killed by Hindu and Muslim leaders. Sarvarul Malik, his minister, who was dissatisfied in the sultanate, was the head of the killing. Then the leaders elected Muhammad Shah, the grandson of Khusro Khan, as next ruler. Muhammad became weak among the internal problems, and he was like a doll in the hands of leaders. When Muhammad Shah died in 1444, leaders elected his son as next ruler in the name Alauddin Alam Shah. This new sultan was weaker than his father, and he went to Badayun, by handing his rule to Balal Lodi in 1451. Then started new sultanate named as Lodi Sultanate. Balal Khan Lodi was from Lodi tribe in Afghan. He was the first Afghani who ruled Delhi, and he conquered some of the regions that became independent. Jaunpur was the one of most important regions. He conquered it after many wars that spanned years. He appointed his elder son Barak Shah as governor of it. The Lodi Sultanate expanded from Jaunpur to Multan. He died when he was returning from Gwalior. He was merciful to poor, and lover of scholars. After him his second son Nisa Khan took over the Sultanate in the name Sultan Sikandar Shah in 1489. He built a city named as Sikandarabad in Agra. He added Bihar to his Sultanate in 1489. He died in 1517. After him, his elder son Ibrahim Lodi took over the rule. Even if he had the ability of war, he couldn't get any support from Afghan leaders, because he treated them with harsh. The tribe Lodi and Luhani were impatient for his work, so they began to independent from the Sultanate. In this time Daulat Khan Lodi, governor of Lahore, and Alam Khan, uncle of Ibrahim Lodi, called Zainuddin Babur to attack India. He was governor of Kabul. Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi in Battle of Panipat in 1526. With this attack the Delhi Sultanate ended and began a new Turkish rule in the name of Mughal Sultanate.